Hey guys, this is Nick. We're back with the list featuring top 10 best PC games of November 2020. There are lots of big titles coming this month, and some of the most anticipated games are going to be released. Without further ado, let's dive straight into our first and best pick of this month. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It is an open-world action RPG set in 873 AD. The game recounts an alternative history of the Viking invasion of Britain. The player can choose either a male or a female character and is able to customize hair, war paints, clothing, armor, and tattoos. The variety of weapons available to the player has been expanded to include weapons such as flails and greatswords. Combat has been changed to allow dual wielding of almost any weapon, including shields, and every piece of gear that the player collects is unique. There's more focus on the stealth aspects for both traversing the game world and in combat. You can hide from enemies not only in stationary environmental objects, but can pull down your hood and slip into certain crowds to use them as cover. You can use a raven to scout and distract guards, and can access a hidden blade for near instantaneous assassinations. Through specific combinations of approach, tactics, and weapon selection, you can assassinate any boss through a single attack. Next, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It is a first-person shooter video game, and it's the sixth installment in the famous Black Ops series. The game is set during the Cold War in the early 80s. The story is inspired by actual events, and the campaign features locations such as East Berlin and Vietnam. Players can create a custom character for the campaign. The multiplayer mode features new and returning game modes, as well as maps to accommodate both traditional 6v6 format as well as larger 12v12 combat. There is a new game mode named Fireteam, which can support up to 40 players. The Create a Class system from Modern Warfare is back with more features. In addition, the progression system for multiplayer will be integrated with Call of Duty Warzone, meaning that gears and weapons unlocked in Cold War can be used in Warzone and vice versa. The game also features a new storyline titled Dark Ether, which expands the original Ether story concluded in Black Ops 4, while also tying to the main narrative of the campaign. Next on the list, Godfall. It is an action role-playing game set in a high fantasy setting, split into the realms of earth, water, air, fire, and spirit, where players take the role of one of the last exalted Knights Order to prevent a major apocalyptic event. The game is based on the loot shooter concept of completing missions and gaining better loot for further quests. The focus of the combat is on melee attacks rather than ranged ones. The player has 5 weapon classes to select from based on which of their armor sets valor plates they equip. These weapon classes include the longsword, dual blades, polearm, two-handed warhammer, and the two-handed greatsword. Additional valor plates and augments can be equipped to further customize the character. The game supports single player and up to 3 players in drop-in, drop-out cooperative mode. Moving on to Dirt 5. It is an upcoming racing game, and it's the 8th game in the Dirt franchise, and is mainly focused on off-road racing. The game includes rallycross, ice racing, stadium super trucks, and off-road buggies. Players can compete in events in a wide range of locations. The game also has a dynamic weather system and seasons, which affect the racing and gameplay. For instance, the players can only compete in ice racing events in New York during winter months. The game also introduced a 4-player split-screen system. Dirt 5 also features a narrative-focused career mode that pits the player character against a rival driver called Bruno Durand in a series of championships. And this time you also have a mentor called Alex AJ Janicek, who provides you with advice throughout the career mode. Next, the Falconeer. It is a third-person game that puts you in control of a Falconeer, an airborne warrior. So the game mainly focuses on air combat. You can use ranged weapons to fight your way through the enemies. The game still holds true to the classic dogfighting mechanics, but adds twists such as acrobatics and a crazy lineup of enemies to take on. You can also fight other Falconeers, large lumbering ships, flying beetles, manta rays, and dragon-like weavers. The Falconeer is an open-world game, so a reasonable chunk of the world can be explored and engaged freely. The different factions and their settlements and bases respond to your actions and faction allegiance. The story revolves around a singular conflict, but as a player, you'll get to play and experience it from as many angles as you want, offering you the access to all factions involved. Next on the list, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. It combines side-scrolling action with deep crafting and farming simulation. Players take on the role of Sakuna, a proud yet lonely harvest goddess who is banished to a dangerous island with a group of outcast humans. The game has a painstakingly researched story incorporating Japanese history, myths, and legends. Players can use farm implements as weapons, chaining together strong, weak, and special attacks to take down animal demons, and combines this with her Celestial Scarf, a magical item that allows her to grapple distant platforms and enemies. The village serves as a base of operations for crafting weapons, cooking food, and farming rice by following detailed steps from planting to harvesting across the seasons, improving the eventual harvest and honing Sakuna's battle skills. Moving on to the Pathless. It is an action-adventure video game played from a third-person perspective. In the game, the player controls the Hunter, who is a master archer and must find her own way forward to lift the curse off an island. Players can use bows and arrows to shoot talismans scattered throughout the world, which will fill the Hunter's dash meter and allow you to swiftly navigate the game's world. You are also accompanied by an eagle companion, which can carry you while flying. The eagle loses altitude while carrying the hunter, though it can gain altitude through flapping its wings. Unlike other open-world games, the game does not feature a minimap. Players need to use spirit vision in order to find locations of interest. You need to return light to the obelisks scattered in the game's world, which weakens the cursed spirits, allowing you to defeat them. Next, Yakuza, Like a Dragon. It is a role-playing video game and is the 8th game in the Yakuza series. Similar to previous games in the series, side quests can be taken by the player to gain additional rewards. Players are able to enjoy the various side activities around the map, such as karaoke, and there is a new side activity introduced known as Dragon Kart, which is similar to other kart racing games in terms of its gameplay. This time, instead of real-time beat-em-up mechanics of previous games, Yakuza features turn-based RPG-type combat, with a 4-person battle team. Unlike typical turn-based RPGs, characters may use nearby surrounding objects, such as bicycles, to attack enemies. Players can also call on various party assists to strengthen the party or defeat enemies, with more assists added to the story as it progresses, or through the completion of sub-stories. Players can also continue exploring the world even after completing the game. Next on the list, Bugsnax. It is an upcoming adventure video game developed by an independent game studio, Young Horses. In the game, players explore a mysterious island and attempt to find and capture the eponymous half-bug, half-snack creatures. Bugsnax is a first-person adventure game where you play as a journalist who receives a mysterious fill from a disgraced explorer, and she invites you to Snacktooth Island to witness her latest and greatest discovery. So, in-game, you traverse through Snacktooth Island, trying to find, hunt, and capture different species of Bugsnax using various contraptions and baits. There are over 100 Bugsnax species that are available for capture. Once captured, the Bugsnax can be fed to the local grumpuses, which transforms their bodies based on the properties of whatever Bugsnax they ate. And last but not least, Cris Tales. It is a classic JRPG with a new perspective, where you can peer into the past, act in the present, and watch your choices dynamically change the future. In-game, you can meet and recruit a unique cast of teammates with their own unique abilities, and you can warp the enemies into the past or future, synchronize attacks for enhanced group abilities, and master the timing of attack and defense to go beyond your party's limits in combat. You can also climb aboard an airship or boat to traverse the game's world. The game has beautifully hand-drawn 2D art that is animated frame by frame to bring the bracing past and futures of each region, enemy, and NPC to life across more than 20 hours of gameplay. And that wraps up our list for best PC games for this month. If you have something to share, write us in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to see more awesome games lists in the future. See you guys.